Welcome. I'm Halcyon, and this is the Hug Nation broadcast. Today, I'm going to be sharing my 2020 Burning Man experience. I need to be very clear that this is my Burning Man experience, my review of what the multiverse was like. As is always the case at Burning Man, everyone's experience is different. Like a bunch of blind men explaining an elephant, and one touches the leg and says it's like a tree, and one touches the trunk and says it's like a rope. One touches the body and says it's like a wall. Burning Man is always whatever you experience. So my experience was incredible. So much more than I thought it was going to be. And I think one of the reasons is because I participated. Just like any Burning Man, you can't just check it out. You can't, click on a link and see what it is. You can't just ride your bike around the playa and say, what is this? You have to participate. You have to contribute. And truthfully, it took more effort to really participate this year, to really commit. That was one of the biggest, I think, struggles that I had in accepting that this could be a real Burning Man experience. This could be transformative in the same way, because traditionally, to get to Black Rock City, you have to commit. It takes a serious investment of time. It takes courage to get out there, to find the means, to get over your fears, to drive the distance, to collect the resources. You can't just check out Burning Man. You really have to commit. And to check out the digital multiverse, you did not have to. You could click on a link and browse around or get some goggles and see what Burning Man is. And that, I think, was one of the biggest detriments or potential downsides to this year's Burning Man. Too easy. And too connected to your everyday life. Being able to go someplace far away, often without cell phone coverage, with no reminders of your default life, that in and of itself is one of the hugest benefits of the Burning Man experience. It's the reason why, you go on a retreat. You go far away from all of your patterns so that you are not bogged down and anchored to the way you've always been. And I think it took extra effort this week to not let yourself get pulled back into your traditional commitments. This year, when they announced the multiverse idea, or the theme was multiverse, and then when we had to decide how we were going to express it in this lockdown world, the idea to have many versions of the playa being built, I worried about that. I worried that how are we going to ever find the kind of critical mass in different places? How are we going to figure out where and what and how to do things? What I was craving was a well-organized, structured system where I could know where and what I wanted to do. But as this week went on, and as I missed so much, it kind of made me happy. It made me feel like I was on the playa and at Burning Man. And I had the experience every day of hearing about things that people did and going, oh, I guess I missed that. Oh, where was that? Oh, I missed that, which is exactly how I experienced Burning Man. The downside is that there was a number of things that people made that I would have loved to have seen. Things that friends made, huge efforts that went into, whole virtual worlds or virtual sculptures or workshops that it would have been nice if I could have attended and supported and seen what friends were creating. And yet, that's exactly how I feel at Burning Man. I just don't have the expectation on myself that I will be able to attend everything because I have my own things going on and the playa is always pulling me in different directions. And that's exactly what happened this week. I spent a huge amount of my time at my home camp, whether that was virtual or digital. So let me explain how I experienced it with my virtual, my digital, and my physical Burning Man experiences, my camps that I created. Or created and participated in. Leading up to this year's burn, I've been meeting with and creating community in a Zoom room as we have been hosting twice a day Hug Nation gratitude calls and group hugs. And so it made sense that we would also work together to create things in the virtual multiverse digital experience of Burning Man. And it didn't click until the week was underway how much this group became my theme camp. Now, leading up to the burn, we decided that the Hug Nation community and the Pink Heart physical camp and this sister group in Barcelona called Urban Playa would all join together and be a single camp or a village in the digital playa. And so this group, we had programming and workshops. We had a twice a day check-in in the gratitude circle. And then there was so many other things that happened as people spontaneously decided to experience things together in this Zoom room. For example, when the temple burned, we all met in this Zoom room to watch the temple burn together in silence. So this full Zoom room of people sat together just like we would in the physical world and watched and cried in silence in a Zoom room while we all had a spotlight camera, video screen of the temple burn. And it was powerful and it was communal. And it was the difference between being alone and watching a TV show of Burning Man and having this community experience of Burning Man. We watched the man burn together as well. And many people in the group burned their own little men that they had built throughout the week. And on the temple burn night, people burned things of their own. And so this isolation physically was totally obliterated through this community theme camp experience. It felt like, one of the things I love about Burning Man is the theme camp experience, and that every day, whether it's breakfast or dinner, we come together and we share our experiences and we say, oh my gosh, you have to check this out. Or we share a struggle that we're having and we can support one another and laugh together and share stories and watch each other grow. And by having this twice a day Zoom check-in through the gratitude circle, it was exactly like that. It wasn't mandatory, but it was there so that we could anchor and connect and support. And if I would have known how powerful that would have been, I would have really encouraged more and more people to adopt that kind of digital theme camp tradition. I guess it's a tradition now. Everyone was a virgin this year, so we have to build our own traditions. But should, God forbid, we ever have to do a burn again in this way, I will be pushing hard for everyone to create a theme camp Zoom community to simulate so much of the magic that happens through a theme camp experience at Burning Man. And what was great was that people in this community, many of them participated in significant ways, whether it was hosting workshops or building things in virtual reality or making things physically and then sharing them and then burning them. And so as each of us got more and more into this experience and more participatory and sharing these experiences, it really kind of created this momentum. And as people had challenges and shared their struggles, and again, this connection got tighter and tighter. I asked today in the group, I said, how many of you shed some tears this week? And 90% of the room had their hands up. And then someone asked, how many of you guys had a moment of profound joy this week? And 90% of the hands went up. Like, that sounds like Burning Man. I definitely shed a number of tears throughout the week. Many from joy and connection and this powerful emotion that came out through the growth and the magic. So that was the digital. We had the theme camp in Zoom, but it wasn't just in Zoom. We also had we threw certain events in BRCVR. We had 2 gratitude circles, which I got to help lead and struggle through the technology of being in my avatar and trying to make that work. And then we had a party that we decided last minute to do it as a multiverse party, or we were labeled a polyversal camp because we threw the party in multiple verses. We did it through Sparkleverse, Zoom, BRCVR, perhaps another way. But what I mean by that is, like, we had a Zoom room where people were there connecting, and we had and Twitch. We had a Twitch DJ that was being broadcast into the Zoom room and to the BRCVR. And then we had, so if you didn't have the technology to go to BRCVR, you could go to the Zoom room and see there were people in BRCVR with the goggles that were streaming their VR experience into Zoom, which was something that we never expected would be needed because there were so many people that did not have the ability to experience VR. So Kirill, somebody in the community, realized, just as you would on Playa, like as you walk around, go, how can I make this experience better for other people? Oh, I have access to VR. I have the ability to rig my system so I can project this into Zoom. So I can share this. I can give eyes to those that cannot see 3D. So in this party, we had slamming DJs playing, people dancing in their rooms, and then we had a window into this virtual world. And so this kind of integration, and there were people that had goggles that would be dancing in Zoom and go, oh, hey, I'm going to go log into the VR world and wave to you guys in front of Kirill, who's broadcasting right now. And it was this really cool, unique, multiversal, polycampversal social experience that was, I'd never experienced anything like it before. It was beautiful. The other significant way that I expressed myself, my creativity, my burn this week was physically. I knew from the start that in addition to doing things digitally, I wanted to find ways to be out in the community or out in the world, shining brightly as a burner. So the first thing I did was set up a theme camp in the front yard. Most of Pink Heart's gear is in Nevada in storage containers that I don't have access to. But we also have kind of a storage unit in San Diego filled with kind of our traveling camp stuff. Some signage, some cushions, some pink fabrics and things, some pop-ups. So I set that all up in the front yard. And I made a note explaining what I was doing and put it on the fence so that the neighbors would understand why there was a circus on the corner. And I published a letter in frontdoor.com to invite the neighbors to come by for ice cream or cucumber water. And then I entertained guests all week. People walking by that I invited in for ice water or ice cream. Some people that heard about it and sought me out. Burners that were locally that were really craving a burn experience. Friends that wanted an opportunity to come by. And we would have these socially distanced outdoor connections and conversations and laughter. And it was incredible. So much more than I thought it would be. At one point, there's a number of things that happened that were really profound. One, a neighbor came by who I had never met. They lived a few blocks away, and he said that he had been to Burning Man last year for the first time. He went in honor of he and his wife. They had always talked about going to Burning Man, but she had been sick for 7 years. and then finally passed in the year before he got to go to Burning Man. And he said he spent 7 years in the hospital with her. And leading up to the burn, friends heard that he was going to go and told him to read or to watch my videos. And so he learned all about the principles and preparation and showed up fully prepared and fully ready to experience the temple in the burn. And he said it was profound. He said, it seems cliche, the theme was metamorphosis, but he goes, I went there as a rock and I left as a butterfly. And as he shared, he had this like power to his words, and to have that reflection in the default world was something I did not expect. I had this kind of idea that we should play Burning Man this week. That whether the community likes it or not, whether the neighborhood likes it or not, I'm going to set up this camp and shine pink, because that is my responsibility as a burner and a love warrior, is to shine brightly and spread the principles and live this way. And whether, even if the neighbors hate it, they're going to have to deal with it. And that's not what happened at all. They loved it. Every burner or every neighbor that came by was enthusiastically appreciative, and people would share stories or want to know more or ask me questions. And then so as stories started coming about emotional sharing, or then I got contacted by a friend of my campmate Nick, who killed himself a little over 2 years ago. And Nick's friend asked if he could come by the theme camp. He brought an offering, a gift in honor of Nick. And then he brought Nick's custom made coat that he had created. And he set Nick's coat on one of the chairs in our theme camp and said, can we just leave this here for the remainder of time that it's set up? And it went from we are pretending to play Burning Man to we are having Burning Man. It's just not in Black Rock City, but we are showing up in the same way. We are participating. We are supporting one another. We are being open to connection in ways more beautifully, more profoundly than a normal day-to-day world. And as we subscribe to this truth, this belief, this narrative of this is our burn, people showed up in those ways. Another cool neighbor experience was right after I got it all set up. A neighbor across the way, they set all their LED lights to pink and then came over to hang out in the lounge and asked me what it was all about. And to look at a block and see our pink camp and then the neighbor's pink camp and see that it was not just this isolated aquarium bubble of creativity in pink, but it was actually spreading through the neighborhood, was so beautiful, so cool. And neighbors also, they kept coming by and bringing gifts, bringing beverages and tokens of things, and burners brought little pieces of art to show around, and kids came and drew things, and we put them up around the theme camp, just like it would if we were in Black Rock City. So the other thing that we did was the pink ride, which this would have been, or I should say, this was the 14th year of the pink ride. It was the first year that it did not occur in Black Rock City. And so we had a group of people meet in San Diego, and we had groups of people all over the world that tuned in via Zoom. And then I gave a talk, and then after the talk, we all rode our bikes with holding cameras and streaming it. And again, my thought was, we are going to do this in the world because we're love warriors. And even if people raise their eyebrows at us and laugh at the weirdos in the pink, that we have an obligation to shine this light in the world, whether they like it or not. And it turns out they liked it. Everywhere we went, people were honking and hooting. And as we said, I love you to people universally. Everyone said, I love you back. And then to see the archive through the Zoom and see the people all around the world with their pink doing the same thing. I love you, I love you, I love you. Happening at the same time.
Love you. I love you. I love you. I love you.
I mean, the thought of that just blows my mind. That home was not at Block Rock City. It wasn't in my home in San Diego. Home was where each of us was experiencing this, was feeling this vibe, and spreading this vibe. The mission of the Burning Man Project is to spread this in the world. And truthfully, I think we drop the ball on that every year as we go through decompression and we kind of like shut down. I spent a lot of my life trying to figure out how do we push it out there. And this year we proved that it's possible. That we can welcome home when we're home. We can bring home. We can shine brightly in the default world. And it would be a shame if we don't really lean into that as we extend beyond the week of Burning Man. In addition to the pink ride, which was incredible, the final thing I did in the physical world was First Saturdays. First Saturdays is the local homeless outreach that I've been doing with a group for over 10 years. And it was inspired by Burning Man. It was an attempt to practice gifting in the default world. And who is more receptive to gifts than those with nothing? So once a month for 10 years, we've been going downtown and handing care packs and food and clothing to people who could use some. Doing it as a theme camp, not from a poor you, but as a, hey, we've got some stuff. Could we share? We'd love to gift to you and make you happier. It would make us happier. And so it happened to be First Saturdays, this Saturday on Burn Day. So I started the day downtown gifting. And because it was Burn Day, I dressed up as a burner and handed things out. And so that was a thrill to kind of integrate these two worlds of gifting, default world gifting, Burning Man gifting, and have it all come together. It felt very symbolic and a good reminder of how simple and easy it is to practice principles in the default world. If you just find the cracks where your talents and your gifts can be expressed.
Happy burn! Happy burn!
Happy burn!
The objective of Burning Man is always to change who we are so that we can show up differently in the world and change ourselves and then change the world. What is different this year is that the obstacle of decompression is much different. We have been expressing the burn in the default world all week. So the only difference between yesterday during Burning Man and today not during Burning Man is some story, some narrative. So we can change the narrative such that we are always able to be our highest selves, to practice the 10 principles, to find networks of support and community, to challenge ourselves, to break out of our patterns and our scripts, to be the voices of encouragement to others who are stepping into scary territory of creativity or authenticity. And we can stretch into the default world more and more in these bright and vibrant and creative ways. The only reason not to do it today is because, something written on your Google Calendar, you're the same person. We still have access to the same people. We still have the same truth inside us. So I really challenge you to think about integration. How can you continue? What are the projects that you can do in your world, in your community, with your friends, that exercise that part of you? This was the first year we didn't have to go somewhere to go home. It just took an arrangement of thoughts and ideas. And now that you know that, you can arrange your thoughts and ideas to cultivate home every day. I think this has always been the objective of Burning Man. And if we don't grab hold of that possibility now, we're going to be missing a massive opportunity. I know many people like, I'm taking the year off. I'm not into digital things or whatever the story that people said. It's no different than people saying, oh, I don't like the heat. Oh, I don't want to hang out with a bunch of hippies. Whatever, these are stories. But if you are willing to participate, if you are willing to stretch yourself in whatever way, because really there's no way to burn. It is you finding the way to be your highest self and your creative self and your supportive self and stretch into your potential and share your gifts. If we can do that, we win. We heal the world. We do what we can. Maybe not heal the world, but move the bar towards a more loving and beautiful place that we can call home. So I am so proud of how Burning Man 2020 went. I'm so honored to have been a part of a digital theme camp and share workshops and witness people's growth and see all of us have a virgin digital burn experience and see so many people step up and participate and I think be changed. It's always about what you put into it, what you bring to it. And if we're willing to participate year round, the magic will continue. So thank you for being you. Thank you for sharing your gifts and showing up. I hope that we can continue to burn together. I love you. Welcome home. And I would invite you to stop by the Zoom room that we are still gathering in twice a day, every day. All burn week, noon and 6, we gathered. Guess what we're doing today at noon and 6? Gathering to integrate, to push each other, to be grateful, to remind each other that the possibility is still there. Our potential is still there. Our gifts are still there to be exercised and expressed. And as we do it and share it, it inspires one another. That's how the Burn Week is. That's how it should and can continue. So either join us in zoom.hugnation.com or find some other way to keep going, to integrate the power, to integrate the awareness into the world.